tell you the truth, I don't write for an audience. I write because that's the way I write. And if sometimes there's an audience, and sometimes there isn't. I don't know what the audience is anymore. And I don't know what they want. It's impossible for me to say who they are or what they are, so I don't bother with it. I just write what I want to write, and sometimes they understand it and sometimes they don't. There are different publics. But I'll be damned if I understand how you break them up. The same person on Broadway reacts differently than if he goes off Broadway. The movies can do things that you can't do in the theater. But the theater also does things the movies can't do, and that is the contact between living people and the audience. To me, it's a question of balance. A sheer logical mind is dangerous. A mind that is swept by emotion is also dangerous. There has to be a balance between these two, or you are going to end in destruction.
I often wonder why something is so pleasing. Why? There's a dress or a pattern or a drawing. Why does it give you such pleasure? You see, the thing is, it's very hard to explain an atmosphere when it's gone. It goes so completely. People don't believe you when you say, oh, well, I had a house full of young people, and they came and they went, and other houses like this, all over Europe and America. It's gone. Why did it start and why did it end? I'll just get the coffee. So now we have reverted to a very comparatively conformist time, and a much less generous one in spirit. You see, if we were all very stupid people, it wouldn't be worrying. But there were a lot of very intelligent people believed, for example, at the end of the last war, that in, let's say, 15 years, the entire world would be a kind of utopia. There'd be end of persecution, no sex war, no race war, everyone, and the withering away of the state. Do you remember that phrase? We believed this nonsense. Why did we believe it?
Like I said before, I was, as a child, I was very shy. I didn't want to speak, and actually that was the only way I felt like I could express myself. I felt without using words, I felt like I could, that was the way, it was my language, I felt. Actually, I know what I'm looking for, but I don't know it with my words. You know, I always know when I meet, yes, that it is, you know, it's very funny that when you see something little, you know, somewhere you know that has something to do with what you're looking for. Even you think you don't know, but it's not true. You know, actually it's very exact for what you're looking. There is a fear, but I think it's always in a, but there's the same time is also a joy. I mean, it's not alone a fear, no. Otherwise, no. No. There's also something else. It's not like just one feeling. I don't think so. I like to move. I mean, my body is telling me. I love to move. It's a completely different work if I would to express myself with my body and the space, the time. So there's so in dance there are so many things included. the space, there is something, it belongs so much together like you find almost nowhere else. The space, time, your body, your imagination, your everything. It's a total, the music and whatever you do in space.
I'm as a person, I'm a product of my work. All the great artists were influenced. You understand? They were influenced by somebody else. The difference between a good artist and a mediocre artist is that the great artist usually has great influence. And the mediocre artist has mediocre influence. This is a choice that you do, that you need talent. You have to have the talent to have the right influence. Art should give pleasure. The problem is that most artists today are not interested in that because they find this as prostitution. But it's ridiculous. To have a style is to be a little bit fool. I mean, let's say to be crazy a little bit. Because this is the impossibility of feeling the thing the way every normal man will feel it. You see, I'm not talking about seeing, feel it. You see, then is the way you feel nature, you feel it through a style, through your convictions. Great artist has to be a revolutionary. You see, because, you know, you come as an artist to correct the art, You see, if you agree with what is going on, then it's not important.
Most days I feel like a reporter, but on really good days I'm more than a writer, I'm an author, but that's not every day. I was talking about the hippie movement, and then there was a question period, and suddenly from out of nowhere a student asked me the kind of question that only students are likely to ask you. These wonderful, wide open questions that you're not prepared for. He said, why do you write? And I should have said, well, give me a couple of weeks to think this over and I'll write you a letter. In the Presbyterian Catechism, the first question is, who created heaven and earth? The answer is God. The second question is, why did he do it? The answer is, for his own glory. And that's what I repeated to this student. And I think it's the only honest answer, is that writers do it for their own glory. If you recognize your own motivation, which is your own glory. I mean, nobody goes into writing for money at the outset. You go into it for glory, otherwise you're a fool. I mean, there's a lot better, easier ways to make money. A writer should realize that if he has any hopes for eternity, he can only get there by burying himself in the present moment.
Well, it is always true that a life is influenced by early choices, and there are alternative routes of development that might occur. Like a person may choose to move from one place to another, and then this affects everything after that time. It's hard to evaluate that. Chance is also it's very difficult to say and to analyze. And well, a part of the matter, scientifically viewed, it's partly a question of how you define chance. Well, chance is what you do not understand, the cause factors of causation that are not subject to your understanding, and possible efforts to influence things one way or another. You can have an intuition, but you can make a mistake also. So it has happened to me that I have written out a proof that is not correct.